King Charles has recently spoken out about Camilla, offering insights that many didn't expect. His straightforward comments have caught the attention of royal watchers and the public alike. What the king had to say has raised questions about the future of the royal family, and most importantly, about the alarming decision he was referring to. Let's explore what he revealed. The first encounter between Charles and Camilla occurred in the early 1970s, a time when societal norms, especially within the British monarchy, were rigid. As the Prince of Wales, Charles was under immense pressure to find a wife who met the strict expectations of the royal family, a young, aristocratic virgin who could embody the image of a future queen. However, fate had other plans when he crossed paths with a woman who would challenge these norms and alter the course of his life forever, Camilla Shand. Years later, this woman would become Queen Camilla, but there are some sources that suggest something is standing in the way of their happiness. Reports indicate that Prince William even went as far as to remove Camilla from Buckingham Palace, leading many to search for answers. What's going on between the royal couple? Well, King Charles recently broke his silence on Queen Camilla, and what he had to say came as a shock to many people. Yet, to truly understand what is going on, we must take their story from the beginning. Believe it or not, Charles and Camilla first met at a polo match in Windsor Great Park in 1970. Charles, then 22, was immediately drawn to Camilla's natural charm and down-to-earth personality. Unlike many of the women in his social circle, Camilla wasn't intimidated by Charles's royal status. Instead, she treated him as an equal, and this approach intrigued the young prince. Their shared love for the countryside, a passion for horses, and a similar sense of humor laid the foundation for an instant bond. The two also moved in the same aristocratic circles, which meant they had mutual friends who further enabled their frequent meetings. Over time, this friendship blossomed into something deeper, with Charles seeing Camilla as a companion who offered him respite from the rigid formalities of royal life. As their relationship developed, it became clear that Charles was captivated by this woman. She was everything he admired, warm, confident, and unpretentious. Camilla, in turn, appreciated Charles's sensitivity and intellect. They spent countless hours together, enjoying long walks in the countryside, sharing conversations that flowed easily, and finding solace in each other's company. Their romance, however, was kept relatively private. Charles, aware of the expectations placed upon him, knew that his relationship with Camilla would not be easily accepted by the royal family. Despite this, he was deeply in love and began to consider a future with her. Unfortunately, the challenges were significant. The royal family had clear expectations for the future queen, and Camilla, with her past relationships and independent spirit, did not fit the criteria. The monarchy required that Charles marry someone of aristocratic lineage who was also untouched, a quality that Camilla, who had been involved with others before Charles, did not possess. Adding to the strain was Charles's commitment to the Royal Navy. In 1971, he began an 8-month service that required him to be away from Camilla. This separation tested their relationship, as Charles was unable to be present to nurture the bond they had begun to build. The physical distance, coupled with the emotional strain of fulfilling his royal duties, placed immense pressure on their relationship. During Charles's absence, Camilla reconnected with her former beau, Andrew Parker Bowles, a well-known and well-connected cavalry officer. Andrew had been a significant figure in Camilla's life before she met Charles, and their relationship had the approval of both their families. Unlike Charles, Andrew was not constrained by the same royal expectations, which made him a more straightforward match for Camilla in the eyes of society. As time passed, the pressures on Camilla mounted. Despite her deep feelings for Charles, she was aware of the impossibility of their situation. The royal family's disapproval, combined with the uncertainty surrounding Charles's intentions, led Camilla to make a pragmatic decision. In 1973, after years of an on-and-off relationship, Camilla accepted Andrew Parker Bowles's proposal. The engagement was a turning point for Camilla. It was a choice that seemed practical. She knew that, as much as she loved Charles, their relationship was unlikely to result in something serious. Marrying Andrew, who was well regarded and came from a suitable background, offered Camilla the stability and respectability that her relationship with Charles could not. The news of Camilla's engagement was a heavy blow to Charles, though reports from those close to him suggest that he was sad, heartbroken, even. He had hoped, perhaps naively, that their love could overcome the barriers imposed by tradition and duty. But with Camilla's impending marriage to Andrew, it became clear that their relationship had reached an insurmountable impasse. Charles's disappointment was compounded by the realization that his royal duties would always take precedence over his personal desires. This moment marked a significant emotional turning point for him as he began to accept the sacrifices that came with his role as the Prince of Wales and the future king. In the years that followed, Charles would carry the emotional weight of this lost love. Although he would go on to marry Lady Diana Spencer in 1981, Camilla would always remain a significant figure in his life, a fact that would have far-reaching consequences for all involved. This influence still affects the lives of everyone in the royal family, even today. However, we will continue our story and return to this part later. The royal family's influence over Charles's romantic life was overwhelming, especially when it came to his marriage. Senior members of the family, including the Queen and Prince Philip, had always maintained that Charles must marry a woman who could uphold the dignity and traditions of the British monarchy. This meant finding a bride who was not only of noble birth but also untainted by previous relationships, criteria that Camilla, with her past and independent nature, did not meet. Among the royal advisors, Lord Louis Mountbatten, Charles's great-uncle and mentor, played a crucial role. Louis's opinions carried significant weight, and he had always encouraged Charles to marry a young aristocratic woman who could be molded into the perfect royal consort. He believed such a woman would not only complement Charles but also be more malleable to the demands of royal life. His guidance echoed the sentiments of the Queen and Prince Philip, who were eager for Charles to secure a bride that would meet their stringent expectations. Discouraged from pursuing a future with Camilla, Charles found himself navigating the often shaky waters of royal matchmaking. The royal family's expectations loomed large, and the search for a suitable bride became a matter of increasing urgency. It was against this backdrop that Lady Diana Spencer entered the scene. Diana, shy and beautiful young woman from an aristocratic family, seemed to be the answer to the royal family's prayers. She was the daughter of the 8th Earl Spencer, with a lineage that could be traced back to the Tudor dynasty, a perfect pedigree for a future queen. Charles and Diana were introduced in the late 1970s, and it wasn't long before Diana caught the attention of both the royal family and the British public. At just 16 years old when they first met, Diana was immediately seen as an ideal match for the future king. Her innocence, charm, and aristocratic background made her an appealing choice, and she quickly became the frontrunner in the royal family's quest to find Charles a wife. As Charles began to spend more time with Diana, the media and the public became enthralled by the prospect of a royal wedding. Diana's youth and beauty contrasted sharply with the more seasoned women Charles had previously been linked to, and she was seen as a breath of fresh air for the monarchy. The courtship between Charles and Diana was brief and, by many accounts, somewhat awkward. There was a significant age difference. Charles was 29, and Diana was just 18 when they started dating. Their time together was often constrained by Charles's royal duties and Diana's inexperience in dating, let alone being in such a high-profile relationship. Despite these challenges, the pressure on Charles to propose grew. Back then, the man who would become King Charles III was acutely aware of the expectations placed upon him. The royal family and the media were eager for him to settle down, and Diana seemed to tick all the right boxes. However, lingering feelings for Camilla complicated matters. Charles had never fully moved on from his first love, and the emotional connection with Camilla remained strong even as his relationship with Diana progressed. Despite these reservations, Charles felt compelled to follow through with the royal family's encouragement and the media's portrayal of Diana. The events that followed Charles's proposal to Diana in February 1981, after just 6 months of dating, set the stage for what would become one of the most celebrated weddings in modern history. On July 29, 1981, the couple was married in a ceremony that captivated the world. The venue, St. Paul's Cathedral in London, hosted what was hailed as the wedding of the century. However, beneath the grandeur and spectacle of the occasion, the complexities of Charles's personal life were ever present. While the public saw the wedding as a joyous union, Charles's unresolved feelings for Camilla cast a shadow. Though the pressures of royal duty led him to marry Diana, his heart remained conflicted. The situation only became more complicated when it was revealed that Camilla's presence in Charles's life did not end with his marriage to Diana. Despite the vows he had taken, Charles continued to rely on Camilla as a close friend and confidant, someone he turned to for support and understanding. This created tension and suspicion within his marriage. Diana soon became aware of the deep connection between Charles and Camilla, and this realization contributed to the early cracks in their relationship. Despite her best efforts to win Charles's affection, Diana found herself competing with a figure from his past, a competition she could never truly win. As the years went by, the strain of maintaining a public facade while dealing with private turmoil began to take its toll on both Charles and Diana. The marriage, once celebrated as a fairy tale, eventually ended, with Camilla being at the heart of the discord. Princess Diana's sudden death in a car accident in August 1997 sent shockwaves around the world, plunging the royal family into a period of intense public scrutiny. Diana had been adored by millions, and her death only heightened the anger directed at Charles and Camilla. Many blamed them, at least in part, for Diana's unhappiness, fueling further hostility. In the immediate aftermath of Diana's death, Charles and Camilla kept a low profile. The public's grief and anger were so intense that any attempt by Charles to be seen publicly with Camilla would have been met with widespread condemnation. The couple understood the need to tread carefully, knowing that the road to public acceptance would require time, patience, and a significant shift in public perception. Over the years, the process of reintroducing Camilla to the public was intense. The couple began by attending private gatherings and social events, carefully avoiding the media spotlight. Gradually, they started making appearances at more public events, still maintaining a respectful distance from the limelight. Key supporters played a crucial role in this gradual reconciliation. Most notably, Charles's sons, Princes William and Harry, despite the complex emotions surrounding their mother's death, gave their public support to their father's relationship with Camilla. Their approval was seen as a significant step toward easing public resentment, as it signaled a form of reconciliation within the family itself. Camilla also worked hard to reshape her public image, understanding the importance of earning the public's goodwill. She became increasingly involved in charitable work, supporting causes related to osteoporosis, literacy, and domestic violence. Her dedication to these causes helped soften her image, gradually winning over those who had once viewed her unfavorably. In addition to her charity work, Camilla was steadfast in her support of Charles's royal duties. She began accompanying him to official events, carefully balancing her presence to avoid overshadowing the more senior members of the royal family. This gradual involvement in royal life helped shift public opinion, as Camilla was increasingly seen as a supportive partner rather than a controversial figure. The turning point in their journey toward public acceptance came with the announcement of their engagement in February 2005. By this time, public opinion had begun to soften, and the announcement was met with a mixture of relief and acceptance. The couple's wedding in April 2005 was a relatively modest affair, especially when compared to Charles's first marriage. Held at Windsor Guildhall, it was attended by close family and friends, with the Queen and Prince Philip notably attending the reception rather than the civil ceremony. The wedding marked a significant milestone in their relationship, marking the end of a long and difficult journey toward acceptance. For many, it was seen as a vindication of their love and a recognition that their relationship had withstood the test of time, public scrutiny, and challenges. In the years following their marriage, public perception of Charles and Camilla continued to evolve. As the Duchess of Cornwall, Camilla took on a more active role in royal duties, supporting Charles in his endeavors and increasingly representing the royal family at public events. Little did they know, just as their happiness began to rise, fate would put them to even more tests. It all started when Charles lost his mother. The passing of Queen Elizabeth II on September 8, 2022, marked the end of an era for the British monarchy and the beginning of a profoundly challenging period for her son. As the longest reigning monarch in British history, Queen Elizabeth had been a steadfast symbol of continuity and stability. Her death not only left a deep void in the hearts of the British people but also thrust Charles into the role he had been preparing for his entire life, king. For Charles, the loss of his mother was deeply personal and emotional. Despite the inevitable nature of the transition, the reality of stepping into her shoes was overwhelming. Queen Elizabeth had been a guiding force in his life, and her absence signaled the end of the only reality he had known. As he assumed the responsibilities of the crown, Charles faced the dual burdens of grieving for his mother and leading a nation in mourning. The transition to kingship was further complicated by Charles's own health struggles, which became increasingly public in the months following his ascension. In early 2023, rumors began circulating about the king's health, with reports suggesting that he had been diagnosed with cancer. Initially, these reports were met with speculation and concern, but the palace remained tight-lipped, adhering to the royal tradition of keeping personal matters private. However, as public concern grew, Charles decided to address the issue head-on, a departure from the usual royal protocol. In a rare and candid statement, the king confirmed his diagnosis, revealing that he had been battling cancer for some time. This admission was a significant moment, not only because of the transparency it offered but also because it highlighted the vulnerability of a man who had just taken on one of the most demanding roles in the world. The news shocked the nation and added even more drama to the king's reign. The king's health became a topic of national discussion, with many expressing concern over his ability to fulfill his royal duties while undergoing treatment. Despite the gravity of his situation, Charles remained committed to his role, assuring the public that he would continue to serve to the best of his abilities. As Charles navigated the early days of his reign, his health struggles added a sense of urgency to his work. There was a palpable sense that time was of the essence, and the king was determined to make the most of it. His commitment to his duties, despite his illness, earned him respect and admiration, even from those who had been skeptical of his ability to lead. However, whispers began to circulate about how Camilla was reacting to everything that was going on, suggesting that the couple might not be as strong as they once were. With Charles facing serious health battles, including a publicized cancer diagnosis earlier this year, rumors about the state of the royal couple's marriage started to spread. These concerns were fueled by reports that the king and queen had been spending more time apart, with Charles frequently staying at Highgrove House while Camilla remained at Clarence House. Adding fuel to the fire, there were even rumors suggesting that Prince William had decided to throw Camilla out of Buckingham Palace. William's decision not to rehire Camilla's sister, Annabel Elliot, as an interior designer on the duty of Cornwall payroll sent a clear message that something was brewing within the royal family, which made Camilla concerned about her position. This, combined with the growing chatter about the state of Charles and Camilla's marriage, left the public in a frenzy. Camilla's growing frustration stemmed from Charles's relentless dedication to his royal duties, while she wanted him to slow down and enjoy the later years of life. Despite his age and battle with cancer, Charles has made an alarming decision: he will not back off his work commitments. He continues to prioritize his duties, much to Camilla's concern. This decision has undoubtedly caused friction between the two. After weeks of public concern, King Charles broke his silence on Queen Camilla and shocked everyone. He acknowledged the tension in his marriage, admitting that his commitment to the crown has come at a cost to his personal life. But what truly shocked the public was his alarming decision: he has no intention of stepping back. "I made an oath to serve and that will never change," Charles declared, doubling down on his duties and refusing to cut back, despite Camilla's wishes. He remained resolute in his role as monarch, no matter the strain it causes. This revelation left everyone stunned, as Charles made it clear that his sense of duty will always come first, even if it means walking a difficult path with Camilla by his side. Following King Charles's shocking revelation about his unwavering commitment to his royal duties, Prince William emerged as a key player in managing the delicate situation. As Charles presses forward despite his precarious health, William has stepped up in more ways than one, taking on additional responsibilities to ease the burden on both his father and Queen Camilla. This shift hasn't been easy for William, who is already balancing a full load of royal duties alongside the demands of his growing family. With his wife, Kate Middleton, battling cancer, the weight on his shoulders has only grown heavier. Yet, through it all, William remains steadfast in his dedication to ensuring the monarchy's stability during his father's recovery. In a carefully worded public statement, William recently addressed the swirling concerns about his father's health and the speculation regarding Charles and Camilla's time apart. His goal was clear: to reassure the public that despite the physical distance between them, the bond between Charles and Camilla remains intact. William explained that the separation was not due to any marital rift, but rather a necessary decision to allow King Charles to recover in a more peaceful and less demanding environment. However, William's actions have also raised some eyebrows, particularly his decision not to rehire Camilla's sister Annabel as the interior designer for the Duke of Cornwall's payroll. This seemingly small decision has had a significant impact, leaving Camilla concerned about her own position within the family. With her sister sidelined, Camilla can't help but feel uneasy about her standing in the royal household. Is this decision a subtle signal from William about the future direction of the monarchy? Could it be indicative of a shift in the family dynamics, one where Camilla's influence is beginning to wane? William's message came at a critical time, as the lack of public appearances and affectionate displays between Charles and Camilla in recent months had only fueled rumors of a deeper crisis within their marriage. Some media outlets even suggested that their relationship was on the verge of collapse. While William assured the public that the couple remains united, the absence of a strong visible bond has left many wondering if there is more beneath the surface. Could the stress of their royal responsibilities and Charles's health struggles be quietly taking a toll? And could William's decisions be part of a larger strategy to shift the power dynamics within the royal family? Insiders close to the royal family have echoed William's reassurances, emphasizing that Charles and Camilla's relationship is still standing. Yet even they can't ignore the fact that the pressures they face are immense. Camilla, known for her enduring support and resilience, continues to prioritize Charles's well-being. By giving him the space and time he needs to recover, she is ensuring that he will be able to fulfill his role as king for years to come. However, with William making bold decisions, like removing Annabelle from the payroll, Camilla's concerns about her place within the family are impossible to ignore. Could this be an early warning of a deeper rift forming? It's clear that Queen Camilla remains dedicated to Charles, but with everything going on, their time apart, the media scrutiny, and William's subtle moves, the strength of their marriage and her influence might not be as unshakable as it once appeared. What do you think, though? In the end, is she a villain or the hero of this story? Let us know in the comments.